Hello, folks. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam. All right. Let us continue with the Dharma preaching chapter of Innumerable Sutra, Meanings Sutra. When we last left it, the Buddha was once again repeating his teachings. I taught that all things are originally empty and calm, ceaselessly changing, arising and perishing in an instant. Every word of that is important. If you go to my Patreon site, please do help support what I'm doing. I also post on YouTube. Both have all my videos, and YouTube regrettably demonetized me some time ago. So I lost a lot of support that way, and this stuff costs money. I hate to bring that up, but anyway, so you can help me on Patreon. But my point is that I have many videos, as this one, that go into every one of those aspects of his teaching. So the ideas that he's talking about here are in the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment, which Tendai really developed and dug into. Great scholarship. Of course, so did the Tendai religion as it entered Japan. Saicho promoted much of Tendai's Chi's teachings. And of course, Nichiren picked up on all of this. And in Japan, or in Japanese, the terms used are, of course, different language. You may have heard the term Ichinen Sanzen. That's exactly same thing, 3,000 realms in a single thought moment. Basically explaining that where we are in each and every single moment is the potential of everything. Everything is in it. Everything we could possibly experience exists in every single solitary, discrete moment of life. What we experience here in this mundane world of samsara is a mere tiny little subset, which is largely because of our tendencies, and that is our karma. So to see beyond that, to see the vastness of what we truly represent, is very difficult to fathom. So this is our practice. With that, let's continue. When I spoke in and this is Shakyamuni speaking, when I spoke in various places during the middle period, proclaiming the 12 causes and conditions and the 6 transcendental practices for monks and the group of bodhisattvas, I also taught that all things are originally empty and calm, ceaselessly changing, arising and perishing in an instant. Now, preaching the great vehicle sutra of the innumerable meanings, I also teach that all things are originally empty and calm, ceaselessly changing, arising and perishing in an instant. Good sons, this is why the teaching at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end are the same in expression, but different in meaning. Since the meaning is different, so too the understandings of living beings differ. And since understandings differ, so too attainments of the Dharma, of its fruits, and of the way differ. So Shakyamuni is talking here about his different stages of teaching, and he's trying to make clear that even though I've been consistent throughout teaching the same things, I've been teaching them in skillful ways to the capacity and ability of the people at the time. And as they rose in capacity and skills, perceptive skills, I taught the same things, but I taught them differently, and therefore their perceptions became deeper, their insights more profound, and their understanding greatly changed. And so he's not only stating this as evidence for the way he taught and the constantly developing mind of his students, but he's also reminding the early students that what they think is complete is in fact not. It is only a level of understanding that can lead them to greater perceptions when they continue to follow the teachings into the latter periods of his teaching life, culminating with the Lotus Sutra, which he's in the Innumerable Meaning Sutra introducing. He's preparing everyone for here it comes. Now pay attention, right? Good sons, at the beginning, though I taught the four truths, right, the Four Noble Truths, for those who sought to be Shravakas, in other words, learning students, 8 million heavenly beings came down to hear the Dharma and aspired to become awakened. In the middle, though I preached the profound 12 causes and conditions in various places for those who sought to be Pratyeka Buddhas, innumerable living beings aspired to become awakened or continue as Shravakas. Now, next, though I proclaimed over many eons the practice of bodhisattvas by teaching the equality of the 12 literary forms of the Great Wisdom Sutra, right, and the vast Flower Garland Sutra, hundreds of thousands of monks, tens of thousands of millions of human and heavenly beings, and innumerable other living beings could remain as stream enterers, once returners, non-returners, or arhats in the dharma of causes and conditions appropriate for Pratyeka Buddhas. So he's not only reinforcing again the different stages of learning and his teaching, but he's also cleverly increasing the amount of people for whom this teaching affects. So you may have heard this another way from outside Buddhism, in that there are early practices of Buddhism that will offer an opportunity for the modern person to attain enlightenment, but it'll be very, very difficult. The success rate will be maybe 1 in a million will actually awaken fully. Okay? But as you practice further and further, deeper and deeper into the totality of Shakyamuni's teachings, we go back to the word quickly, attain full enlightenment quickly. This means to attain enlightenment as we do it, right now in this moment. Not millions of lifetimes, not even a lifetime, not a once returner, not a non-returner, but at this very moment. Because this is key. This moment is everything, right? Good sons, for this reason it is known that while the teaching is the same, the meaning differs. Since the meaning differs, so too the understandings of living beings differ. And since understandings differ, so too attainments of the Dharma, of its fruits, and of the way differ. Thus, good sons, from when I attained the way and stood to teach the Dharma for the first time, until I proclaimed the great vehicle sutra of innumerable meanings today, I have never ceased preaching about suffering, emptiness, impermanence, no enduring self, the absence of greatness, the absence of pettiness, original non-arising, present non-extinction, one character, absence of character, dharma character, dharma nature, non-coming, non-going, and the four modes by which all the living are driven. So, he's repeating a little bit, but he's wanting to point out, he's being very consistent, but today, you're going to understand all of this far differently. Good sons, this is why all Buddhas everywhere respond to the variety of voices without a forked tongue and with one sound. Though each has only one body, they show bodies innumerable and numberless as the sands of hundreds of thousands of millions of billions of Ganges. In each body they display a number of similar types, countless as the sands of 100 of thousands of millions of billions of Ganges, and in each type, they show forms as countless as the sands of hundreds of thousands of millions of billions of Ganges. So, this information on enlightenment will come to you not in, if you take this literally, it sounds like there's just an endless group of enlightened people coming to you to get you to be enlightened. Flip that on its head. What he's actually saying is this is about, remember, all of these teachings, all of these sermons are about what goes on in the mind. Keep coming back to that. So when he uses examples like this, he's telling you that you can see this truth in innumerable ways. If you choose to open your mind to your Buddha mind, you will see this truth in absolutely everything. From the observation of an ant and the way that it moves, to the song of a bird, to the way you think about your world, to the air, to everything you could possibly perceive, through this filter of the Buddha mind is a reinforcement of this truth. This is what he's saying here. This enlightenment, this reasoning, this awakening will appear to you from countless ways, because everything you experience will be another validation of that precious, unbelievably unfathomable, huge everything, potential, truth, that energy. It's in absolutely everything. So let's continue. Good sons, accordingly, this is the inconceivable and profound sphere of all the Buddhas. The two vehicles cannot comprehend it, and even bodhisattvas at the 10th stage cannot reach it. Only among Buddhas can it be fathomed well. That is a bomb he just dropped. He just explicitly said the two vehicles are Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. Pratyeka Buddhas include Arhats. So all voice hearers, learners, Sravakas, students, monks, all Pratyeka Buddhas, those students so accomplished that they understand the Buddha's words, that they get the perceptive reality, that they are in the process of seeing their self as a provisional samsaric thing that isn't permanently extant. And arhats, those who claim to be completely unattached for themselves, but who have not raised others to do the same. And even bodhisattvas who have gone through all the stages to the ultimate stages, what are they called? Bodhisattva Mahat, I can't remember the word, but the fully accomplished bodhisattva is still, after all, a bodhisattva. So what is a bodhisattva? A bodhisattva is a person who is practicing to attain the Buddha way, the full Buddha mind, the Buddha experience. And in order to attain that full Buddha mind, Buddha experience, must help others to do the same. So bodhisattva is like a worker bee. Trying to get others to understand at the level where they are inspired, where you are inspired, to seek complete immersion in that Buddha mind. And that Buddha mind is all encompassing. It's this and billions of countless of other universes with minds, samsaric realities within them. Not just my world, not just your world, but worlds, all of them. Not even the worlds, but the energy from which worlds are manifested. All temporary, all that will arise, change over time, and dissipate. This is huge. And each and every one of us, a conundrum as that might be, one of us, each and every one of our human experiences is capable of fathoming this entirety, this whole. In fact, we're capable of doing it in every single moment of life. And that is what Shakyamuni is referring to as fully enlightened. Not just that you get it every now and again while you chant, not just that you meditate and attain it, but that you actually live it in each moment. It's just this wondrous being, this experience of the Buddha mind. This is why he says it's inconceivable until you're there, right? Because who knows what ice skating is like until you land on your butt in the middle of the ice on those infernal skates. Suddenly, ice skating has a very palpable meaning. So, same way. Therefore, good sons, this is why I teach the wonderful, profound, and unexcelled Great Vehicle Sutra of the Innumerable Meanings is truly correct in logic, unsurpassed in value, and protected by the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. No demonic or non-Buddhist ways can damage it, nor can any wrong view of life and death defeat or destroy it. Because it just is. You can have different views, but you're just messing yourself up, right? You're not going to mess up the ultimate reality. Therefore, Bodhisattva great ones, if you want to attain unexcelled awakening quickly, there it is again, you should practice and study the profound unexcelled Great Vehicle Sutra of Innumerable Meanings. After the Buddha had finished teaching this, the 3,000 great thousandfold world trembled and shook in 6 ways. Various kinds of heavenly flowers, such as the blue lotus, water lily, and white lotus, spontaneously rained down from the sky, and innumerable kinds of heavenly perfumes, robes, garlands, and priceless treasures also rained and came rolling down from the upper sky and were offered to the Buddha, the many bodhisattvas, and Shravakas, and to the great assembly. Heavenly trunks and bowls and other vessels filled with all sorts of heavenly delicacies and heavenly banners, flags, canopies, and musical instruments were everywhere, and heavenly music played in praise of the Buddha. So this was a huge aha moment, right? Also, the Buddha worlds In the eastern direction, as many as the sands of the Ganges trembled and shook in 6 ways, heavenly flowers, incense, robes, garlands, so on and so forth, blah, 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 and heavenly music was played in praise of those Buddhas, those Bodhisattvas, and Shravakas, and great assemblies. The same thing happened in the southern, western, northern directions, in 4 intermediate directions, and in the up and down directions. So, in a sphere, the sonic boom of this teaching was suddenly realized by everyone in attendance. At this time, 32,000 Bodhisattva Great Ones in the assembly reached the state of concentration of innumerable meanings. 34,000 Bodhisattva Great Ones gained entrance through the gateway of countless and unqualifiable incantations and turned the never-retreating Dharma wheel of all the Buddhas of the 3 worlds. When all the monks and nuns, laymen and laywomen, heavenly beings, dragons, satyrs, centaurs, asuras, everybody in attendance, all minds, iron wheel turning, all the wheel turning kings, princes, ministers, lord, ladies, 100,000 kings of followers together heard the Buddha Tathagata teach this sutra. They obtained the warm Dharma, the highest Dharma, the best Dharma in the world, the fruits of a stream enterer, the fruits of once a returner, the fruits of a non-returner, the fruits of an arhat, and the fruits of a parateka Buddha. What's a stream enterer? To me, that's the most interesting term and the most telling term in all of these. You've got bodhisattvas, you've got arhats, you've got pratyeka Buddhas, you've got shravakas. We can give them all English definitions. They're just words that point to a type of behavior, correct? So what's a stream enterer? Why was that translated as a stream enterer? That's a pretty interesting concept from Sanskrit to Chinese to Japanese and now English, a stream enterer. Well, once again, the core of all of this, if you dig deep enough, if you're the kind of student who wants to really, really get this, like a scientist who says, okay, I know how to boil water, but why? How? Not why is a trap, but how? How does water boil, right? How does enlightenment work? How does awakening change my life? How does awakening awaken, right? What does it mean? How does it work? The 3,000 realms in a single thought moment, as abstract as that sentence is, call it Ichinen Sanzen if you want a short version. I have a group of, I don't know, half a dozen or more videos on the origins of life. And I use a contemporary model to explain it. Energy. And particle physics is struggling with this right now with quantum gravity and quantum uncertainty, and how energy has mass because particles, subparticles, waves are coming in and out of existence all the time. How can we even say that, in and out of existence? What is out of existence? Remember I said negation is proof of, okay? So, I mean, if you're into science, look up dark energy and see what you find. Read Lawrence Krauss, Universe from Nothing. Anyway, a stream enterer. If you think in terms of energy, if you think in terms of everything we experience as energy in some form or forms of energy, it becomes easier then to see that happiness is a form of energy and a hammer is a form of energy. Earth is a form of energy. Sky is a form of energy. Water in its many forms are not manipulations, manifestations of water in different conditions, all from the same energy. If you think of the process of life, including the universe, planets, Earth, tomatoes, you and I, as a vast stream of energy, a stream of energy that manifests phenomena that exist, change, and dissipate, that arise, go through changes, and dissolute. Part of a stream of potential, part of a stream of energy. Then come back to the stream enterers. This is what we're doing. This is our practice. This is what the teaching of Buddhism is about, is to change our focus from these momentary instantiation and experiences in the tumble of the waves landing on the shore and perceiving the entirety of the ocean. The waves still exist. We can look upon them without being roiled into the surf. The stream enterers have a perception of the stream rather than the tiny bubbles that they're obsessed in. Is that helpful? Furthermore, they attained a bodhisattva's stable state of non-arising, acquired 1 incantation, 2 incantations, 3 incantations, 4 incantations, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 incantations, 100,000 million of billions of incantations, myriads of incantations, as innumerable as the sands of the Ganges, and they all came to turn well the never-retreating Dharma wheel. Unquantifiable numbers of living beings aspired to supreme awakening. So that's just another way of saying what I was just describing about stream enterers, is that once you enter the stream, you can perceive the totality of all potential. There is no more. That's the situation. And now we'll enter the 3rd chapter of the Innumerable Meanings Sutra, and I believe that's the last chapter before we then dive into the Sutra of the Lotus Flower of the Wonderful Dharma, or the Lotus Sutra. And this one isn't too long, so I'm not sure. We may be able I may be able to finish this in this video. If not, we'll just have another video. It's more important to discuss this, and I hope it has some meaning, or not meaning, but I hope that it helps you to expand your heart around this teaching. 3rd chapter, 10 blessings, or that's how it's translated. Might be merits. At that time, the Bodhisattva Great One, magnificently adorned, said to the Buddha, World-honored one, the world-honored one has taught this fine and wonderful, profound and unsurpassed great vehicle sutra of innumerable meanings. It is truly profound, profound, profound. Why? In this assembly, all the Bodhisattva Great Ones, all the 4 groups, the heavenly beings, dragons, demons, blah, 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 all the people, all living beings, hearing this profound and unexcelled great vehicle sutra of innumerable meanings, never fail to obtain entrance to incantations, the 3 teachings, the 4 fruits, and the aspiration for awakening. It should be known that this Dharma is truly correct in logic, unsurpassed in value, and protected by the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. A host of demonic ways cannot damage it, nor can any wrong view of life or death defeat or destroy it. Why is this? Because to hear it just once is to embrace all the teachings. Important statement. If any living being can hear this sutra, they will acquire great benefits. Notice it says can hear. It's important that they translated it this way, because anyone who can hear it doesn't imply that there's a great difficulty in crossing a desert and only those who can make it across the desert will hear it. Poetically, you could say that. But what it's really saying is, do you have the capacity, the desire, the seeking spirit that you will hear it? How many times have you had confrontations with other human beings when you say something and they only hear parts of it, and therefore they make communications or misjudgments or argue with you in unreasonable ways, and to the point where you have to say, listen, you're not hearing me. I am saying that. And they go, oh, okay. That's not because they're not capable of hearing you. That's because they're blocked in their minds. They have something else going on. And even though you were clear, they could not hear you. Not because they weren't able to physically, but mentally they got in the way. All right? Again, I keep coming back to the same theme. Remember, all of these sermons are taking place in the mind. All of these wonderful examples and conversations, they're about attitude, mental perception, a willingness to perceive and learn. Remember my thing about self-teaching? You cannot teach yourself if you're not willing to listen carefully to not only what you hear, but how you hear it. How attentive, how willing are you to be attentive enough to hear the subtleties of everything? Okay? So, if any living beings can hear this sutra, they will acquire great benefits. Okay? If any living being, why is this? If anyone practices it well, they will quickly and without fail attain unexcelled awakening. Ooh, big statement. For all those people who are in monasteries for years, they just got owned, right? Basically, this is saying, all you guys who were 10, 20, 30 years in a monastery doing all these ascetic practices, if you now can hear, not castigating them, not telling them they were stupid, but telling them that they weren't prepared, they weren't ready, they didn't have the capacity to truly hear this teaching. Now that they're there, now that they've done all this, all of that was preparatory. Now all they have to do is hear this, and because they're prepared to hear it, because they can hear it and practice it well, boom, you're there. If living beings cannot hear it, you should know that they lose great benefits. Even after the passing of innumerable, unlimited, inconceivable, countless eons, they will never be able to reach unexcelled awakening. Whew. This is the door just slammed. If you're practicing old teachings in the hopes that those early teachings are all you need to know, you've missed the point. You've missed the point that those were cultivating your skills so that you finally could get here. But if in your arrogance you think you have it all, you're never going to get here. Ow. We're going to see a lot more of this much more explicitly as we move on through this Lotus, and it's in all the Mahayana teaching. Why? Because they do not know the great direct way to an awakening. Their way will be steep and very difficult. Isn't that what I was saying earlier? 1 in a million? The world, and that was never Siddhartha's goal before he became Buddha, before he became immersed in enlightenment. His goal was for everyone, every sentient being. If there's a real truth in the way the universe works, in the process of life, then it should be the same for every phenomena, everything. That was his supposition. This can't be just for the elites. Then it's not real. Then it's just a club. If there's a real truth, a fundamental reality, then it has to be fundamental. It has to be fundamental to every manifestation. Otherwise, you can't say it's a truth. You can only say it's a thing. Right? So, world honored one, this sutra is inconceivable. Our only wish is that out of compassion and pity for all people, you fully explain the profound and inconceivable matters of this sutra. World honored one, from where does this sutra come? Where is it headed? Where will it live? Having such innumerable blessings and amazing powers, how does this sutra enable people to attain supreme awakening quickly? Here's that word again. In other words, in our present form, in this moment. How do we just go click? I'm in my Buddha mind. How do I do that? Then the world-honored one spoke to magnificently adorned Bodhisattva, the great one. Good, good, my good son. It is so, just as you say. Good son, this sutra that I teach is profound, profound, truly profound. Why? Because it enables people to attain unexcelled awakening quickly. Because hearing it just once, they retain all the teachings. Because it brings great enrichment to all the living. Because those who practice the great direct way do not encounter great difficulties. Good son, you ask where this sutra comes from, where is it headed, and where will it live? Now you should listen carefully. Good son, this sutra originally comes from the home of all the Buddhas, goes toward the aspiration for awakening of all the living, and lives wherever bodhisattvas practice. Good son, this sutra comes like this, goes like this, and lives like this. Thus, having such innumerable blessings and amazing powers, this sutra enables people to attain unexcelled awakening quickly. Good sons, would you rather hear how this sutra has 10 amazing powers of blessings or not? Magnificently adorned Bodhisattva said, we want to hear. The Buddha said, good sons, first, this sutra leads a not yet awakened bodhisattva to aspire to awakening, leads one without human kindness to aspire to kindness, leads one with a murderous heart to aspire to great compassion, leads one who is jealous to aspire to respond with joy, leads one with attachments to aspire to impartiality, leads one who is greedy to aspire to generosity, leads one who is full of arrogance to aspire to be moral, leads one who is angry to aspire to patience, leads one who is lazy to aspire to perseverance, leads one who is distracted to aspire to meditation, leads one who is ignorant to aspire to wisdom, and leads one who lacks concern for saving others to aspire to saving others, leads one who commits the 10 evils to aspire to do 10 good things, leads one who is willful to aspire to let things be, leads one who is prone to backsliding to aspire to never retreat, leads one who commits faulty acts to aspire to being faultless, and leads one who suffers from afflictions to aspire to detachment. Good sons, this is called the first amazing power of the blessings of this sutra. So, this is also called cleansing of karma. All your habitual faults, flaws, however you want to look at them, when they're cleansed, they not only cease to control you, affect you, influence you, but conversely, they're flipped on their heads and create within you a wholly different aspiration or tendency. So rather than having a tendency to stub your toe, you have a tendency to be extremely organized, need whatever it is individual to you, because whatever your particular set of conditions that lead you to a certain behavior, that's your karma. So when it flips over, it's not just a simple description like this, it's individual to you. Good sons, the second inconceivable power of blessings of this sutra is this. If living beings can hear this sutra even once, even only one verse or phrase, they will master 100,000 myriad meanings. Yet, in an innumerable number of eons, they will not be able to explain the Dharma they received and embraced. Why is this? It is because the meaning of this sutra is innumerable. So, as I just said, as we change our karma, as we cleanse our karma, the cleansing and the shift in perception that occurs within each one of us is totally individual. So to try to explain that to others is almost meaningless, because they have to experience their own conversion in order to understand. Does that make sense? Explain driving a car to somebody who's never driven. You can do a lot of work on that, and they can say, yes, yes, I get it. But until they get behind the wheel of a car, they won't know. Right? Good sons, suppose that from one seed 100 million seeds grow, and from each of those 100 million seeds another 100 million seeds grow. And this is repeated so that the seeds become innumerable. This sutra is like this. From one teaching, 100,000 meanings grow, and from each of these 100,000 meanings, 100 million meanings grow. And this is repeated so that the meanings become unlimited and innumerable. This being the case, this sutra is called Innumerable Meanings. Good sons, this is called the second amazing power of blessing of this sutra. And on that note, we're going to close this lesson, and we'll continue. And in the next video, I'm sure that we will complete the Innumerable Meanings Sutra, and then we'll be able to dive into the Lotus. But the Innumerable Meanings Sutra is quite an important sutra. Really opens the door, opens the mental door to what is about to happen in the Lotus Sutra, which is incredible. But this sutra prepares the student to understand that everything they've studied previously is about to culminate, is about to be not usurped, but inculcated into now a final all-encompassing knowledge. Everything you've learned thus far has only created, it's like a black belt in martial arts. When you achieve a black belt in martial arts, you don't know martial arts. What you know is now how to learn. You've been very well prepared to learn what martial arts is about. That's what a first degree black belt is. You are now a very prepared student, right? When somebody goes through medical school, we don't give them a diploma, hand them a scalpel and go to work. They now have to become interns because they are now prepared to enter the theater to witness what it is to apply what they know. And my battery's running low, so we really need to cut this over. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.